This morning, delighted, we're joined by Carmen La Mancha, who's President and CEO of new Gluten World SRI. She's the inventor of the Gluten Friendly technology that detoxifies gluten proteins in cereals. No one better than to offer us some perspectives on that journey, but also very much about the role of public funding in supporting that, these innovation processes. So, ladies and gentlemen, Carmen La Mancha.
Good morning, and thank you for this opportunity to present my company. We are the first food tech startup to offer a low-cost method for detoxification of gluten in cereals. What we do is reduce the inflammatory potential of gluten. Our core technology comes from a discovery I made in 2009. When I realized that I could change certain qualities of gluten inside the kernel using humidity and high temperature. This is a completely new approach because food science has always observed gluten behavior after the kernel is crushed. For example, that is in dough, when flour is mixed with water and the gluten network is formed. And in the oven, when gluten proteins aggregate, baking into bread with a crust. Instead, we intervene in the kernel before the gluten network is formed. The science behind the gluten detoxification method is quite involved, but the mission of New Gluten World is quite simple. Please allow me to share a communication initiative that was funded through the SME program of Horizon 2020.
Wheat is awesome. It's been with us for thousands of years. It jump-started agriculture. And now, it's one of humanity's best crops. Why? If you clean it and mill it into flour, you can make amazing food with it. Wheat dough leavens and stretches like no other cereal can do. Look inside, and you'll find the special protein that makes it all possible: gluten. When gluten travels through the intestine, most of us digest it fine, and we can enjoy, say, pizza. But some people can't. This is what happens if you have celiac disease. Gluten triggers an autoimmune reaction and damages the intestine. Celiac disease affects 1% of the population. That's 70 million people at least, from a pool of billions who are born with genetic markers to maybe develop the disease one day. At New Gluten World, yep, that's us, we have unlocked the science to detoxify gluten in wheat grains. Our formula uses grains, water, and a strong oven. We wet the grains and heat them up. Simple, right? What happens at the molecular level is complicated. Gluten proteins are reshaped and their toxicity is reduced. Our new gluten doesn't trigger an inflammatory reaction in the intestine, so we called it Gluten Friendly. It keeps all its organoleptic properties intact. It bakes just like conventional wheat, with all the same aromas and flavors. Only now, it's safe for people with celiac disease. The best part, it has no additives and is completely natural. Gluten Friendly will change the lives of celiac consumers because it will be much cheaper than gluten-free. It will offer a healthy new choice to people with gluten sensitivity. It will be a new gluten for everyone. Because wherever you have wheat fields, you can have Gluten Friendly. We believe gluten detoxification will become the engine of a social revolution. So millers, listen up. With a license and a clean mill, you too can apply the formula: wheat, water, and our scientific know-how to detoxify gluten at a low cost on an industrial scale. We hope millers will join the worldwide gluten-friendly network and offer safe flours to to everyone, anywhere. New Gluten World, food technology for a better life.
So, as you saw me there, I'm the inventor of the Gluten Friendly patent. And we believe that this technology will tear down the nutritional divide suffered by celiac patients, because it's a gluten for everyone. Nutritional divide is a big label, and here are some facts. At the moment, there is no cure for celiac disease. The only therapy is a lifelong gluten-free diet. But some celiac patients cannot heal even if they follow this kind of diet. Gluten-free means no wheat, no barley, no rye, and sometimes even no oats. And as we know, all these cereals are pillars of European identity. In Italy, for example, celiac consumers rely heavily on gluten-free substitutes for bread, pasta, pizza, biscuits. And one big problem is that all these substitutes are costly. Another critical point is that all these substitutes are fixed for flavors and texture with additives, fatty acids, simple sugars, and this raises an additional health concern for celiac patients. Finally, people with celiac disease live in a constant state of anxiety because gluten is everywhere, not just in bread. You can find it in jams, baby food, meat substitutes, candies, cosmetics, even in medicines. So in our society, people with celiac disease experience daily a psychological discomfort. All of these aspects are what we call the nutritional divide, and we promise to tear down that barrier, which is why gluten-friendly is a social innovation. But gluten-friendly is also a disruptive innovation because it will become a real competitor for the gluten-free industry. At the moment, the gluten-free market has an estimated value of $8 billion worldwide. Now, as I said earlier, my first intuition came in 2009 at the University of Foggia, where I am a professor of food science and technology. It took me 6 years to transfer my intuition from the university to a startup. 6 years. I proved that gluten-friendly was indeed a technological innovation. I registered a global patent, and with the university, we chose the best industrial partner, the Casillo Group. With Casillo Group, we built a fully equipped laboratory for immunological testing and the first prototype oven for detoxification. In Italy, this alone was considered a miraculous outcome, that a small research project born at a public university could attract one of the biggest cereal traders in Europe. So we took off, we won awards, we got media coverage, but still I was a long way from placing gluten-friendly in the market. I needed more funding for clinical trials. I needed a team. I also needed independence to follow my science and to continue with my vision of social entrepreneurship. That is why I decided to apply to the SME program, because I knew that the rules and deliverables of a public fund would secure the direction of New Gluten World for 2 years. I also knew that New Gluten World would be launched in a global arena. For me, this is a dream come true. I always say that at New Gluten World we were flying a small airplane, and that the SME program turned it into a space rocket. In just 1 year, we have reached goals that I have projected in 5 years. The acceleration began with my European coach, Mr. Stefano Lacaita, who trained me to think like a CEO. One day Stefano told me, Carmen, stop thinking like a scientist. You need to apply the SUB method. SUB, S-I-U-B. S-I-U-B? Yes, he said. Speed it up, babe. Yeah, I also laughed. And I did. I had a wonderful team. They are biologists, lab technicians, bakers, administrative staff, communication specialists, and these are our results. We standardized the detoxification process. We scaled up our prototype oven from an oven which detoxified 0.4 kilograms of wheat kernel to this new model, which detoxifies 40 kilograms of wheat kernels. We began researching new application of the gluten-friendly molecule. We went big on clinical trial, from 10 celiac patients eating gluten-friendly bread for 14 days in England to 60 celiac patients in Italy eating gluten-friendly bread for 3 months. This big clinical trial is a collaboration with an Italian research hospital, Casa Sollievo della Sofferenza. We are very excited because we will have results in just a few months. In conclusion, receiving an SME grant has been a transformative experience for me and for my startup. After only 1 year, the grant has shaped the future of New Gluten World. Gluten Friendly is approaching industrial scale-up. Our scientific research already points to new innovative solutions. For example, gluten-friendly flour boosts the effect of probiotics. Gluten-friendly flour extends the shelf life of food products. Gluten-friendly bread stimulates mucus production in the intestine, and mucus protects the intestine from inflammation. This last finding could have a very positive effect on the treatment of chronic intestinal diseases like Crohn's disease, irritable bowel syndrome, ulcerative colitis, and of course, celiac disease. So, as we continue on our journey, the SME program remains our navigation system towards October 2018, and we hope beyond with Food 2030. Thank you very much for your attention.